Have you ever noticed that the more you explain yourself, the less people seem to respect you? The harder you try to be understood, the smaller you start to feel. In a world that never stops talking, silence feels almost uncomfortable. But that's exactly why it's powerful. We live in an age where everyone is expected to react instantly, clarify endlessly, and defend every decision. At work, in relationships, online, we're taught that more words equal more control. But deep down, you've felt the opposite. The more you justify yourself, the more authority slips away, leaving behind frustration and quiet resentment. Stoic philosophy exposes a truth most people miss. Power is not loud. It doesn't argue, it doesn't beg, it doesn't chase validation. As the Stoics understood, suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from how quickly we react to it. Silence, when chosen deliberately, is not weakness or avoidance. It is restraint. It is self-command. It is the moment you reclaim control over your energy and your dignity. Today, you'll learn the silent strategy that commands respect without saying a word, not by disappearing, but by standing unshaken. If you're ready to stop explaining and start being respected, stay with me. Part 1. Silence removes you from the court of judgment. There is a quiet moment many people recognize, but rarely name. It happens right after you finish explaining yourself and realize nothing actually changed. You clarified your intentions, you defended your choices, you tried to sound reasonable, yet instead of respect, you feel exposed, smaller, almost apologetic for having an opinion at all. This moment reveals a painful truth. The instant you begin over-explaining, you step into a courtroom you never agreed to enter. Every extra sentence becomes evidence. Every justification invites evaluation. You are no longer standing as a grounded individual. You are performing for approval. And once you are on trial, respect is no longer something you command. It is something you beg for. Modern life quietly trains us into this trap. We are taught to respond quickly, smooth tension, clarify endlessly, and make sure everyone understands our side. Silence is treated as weakness, awkwardness, or guilt. But Stoic wisdom exposes a brutal reversal. The more you try to control how others perceive you, the more power you surrender to their judgment. As Epictetus taught, you do not control opinions, reactions, or interpretations. You only control your judgments and your actions. The moment you speak to manage how others feel about you, you hand them authority over your inner state. Silence does the opposite. It removes you from the false court entirely. No defense, no prosecution, no verdict. Think about the people you naturally respect. They do not rush to explain themselves. They do not panic when misunderstood. They move with an internal steadiness that does not ask for permission. Their silence communicates alignment. They know who they are, and because of that, others must observe rather than evaluate. Silence shifts the power dynamic immediately. When you stop explaining, people lose the leverage they thought they had. There is nothing to dissect, nothing to twist, nothing to argue against. Your restraint creates a pause, and in that pause, authority quietly returns to you. This is especially clear during moments of tension. A subtle insult, a dismissive comment, a situation where you feel underestimated. The instinct is to correct the narrative and defend your worth. But every rushed word communicates need. Silence communicates certainty. It says you are not asking to be validated. Stoic silence is not avoidance and not fear. It is selection. You are choosing not to place your dignity in someone else's hands. You're choosing not to explain what should already be evident through your actions and values. Here is the practice. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself one question. Are you speaking to express truth, or are you speaking to seek approval? If the answer is approval, silence is your discipline. Let the discomfort pass. Let the moment remain unresolved. Watch how often respect grows not from what you say, but from what you refuse to say. Because the moment you stop defending yourself, people stop judging and start watching. And when they watch, they learn something important about you. They learn that you are not governed by impulse. They learn that your worth is not negotiable. Most importantly, they sense a quiet boundary that cannot be argued with, crossed casually, or dismantled by opinion alone. That boundary is where self-respect begins, and where true Stoic authority takes its first unshakable root inside you. Part 2. Silence makes people feel your absence. There is a truth that hurts to accept at first. Most people do not realize the value of something while it is constantly available. When you are always present, always responsive, always explaining, your presence becomes background noise. Familiar, predictable, easy to overlook. This is why chasing clarity rarely brings respect. When you keep reaching out, following up, or asking for reassurance, you unintentionally teach others that your time and energy are unlimited, and what is unlimited is rarely valued. Stoic philosophy understood this long before modern psychology named it. Attachment weakens influence and blurs self-respect. As Seneca warned, much of our suffering comes not from loss, but from clinging. When you cling to being seen, heard, or understood, you surrender your leverage. Silence breaks this attachment. It creates space, and space forces awareness where words only create noise. When you go silent, not in anger, not as punishment, but in self-command, something subtle happens. People begin to notice the gap you leave behind, the messages that stop, the availability that disappears, the energy that is no longer freely given. Your absence becomes louder than any explanation you could have offered. This is uncomfortable because it feels like letting go of control. Your mind tells you to check back, to clarify, to make sure you are not misunderstood. But Stoic discipline teaches the opposite. Control is not found in chasing reactions. It is found in mastering restraint and emotional stillness. Think about moments when someone suddenly stopped engaging with you. No drama, no argument, just distance. The silence forced reflection. You replayed conversations. You questioned assumptions. That is the power of absence. It turns attention inward instead of outward and exposes unspoken dynamics. Silence also reveals who respects you and who only valued your availability. Those who respect you will adjust. They will approach with clarity and respect. Those who relied on access will grow frustrated, confused, even resentful. That reaction is information. Silence becomes a filter that protects your energy. This is why Stoics practice detachment, not to punish others, but to protect the self. When you detach, you're no longer governed by the fear of losing connection. You become free to choose peace over proximity, dignity over reassurance, and alignment over approval. A simple rule can change everything. When emotions are high, apply a 72-hour pause. No reacting, no checking, no explanation. Let the nervous system settle. Let the situation breathe. Most conflicts dissolve when they are not fed with constant attention and emotional urgency. This does not mean disappearing forever. It means stepping back long enough to regain your center. Silence is not rejection, it is recalibration. It is the space where you remember who you are without external noise defining you. When people feel your absence, they begin to reassess your value. Not because you demanded respect, but because you stopped offering yourself at a discount. In that quiet space, something shifts. You're no longer chasing connections. You are choosing it deliberately. That choice is felt. It is respected. And over time, it restores a balance that words, arguments, and explanations alone could never create or sustain. This is how absence becomes presence, and silence transforms from discomfort into authority that others intuitively recognize, respond to, and adjust themselves around without being told, persuaded, or pressured over time with quiet consistency applied. Part 3. Stop explaining, and you stop lowering your value. There is a hidden cost to constant explanation that few people notice while it's happening. Each time you justify your choices, your boundaries, or your feelings, you subtly communicate uncertainty about your own authority. You may believe you are being reasonable, but underneath you are signaling that your decisions require permission to exist. Most people explain themselves because they fear being misunderstood. They fear being judged unfairly. They fear losing connection. So they talk more, clarify more, soften their stance, hoping understanding will create respect. But Stoic wisdom reveals the opposite pattern. Respect does not come from being understood by everyone. It comes from standing firm without apology. Every explanation places you on defensive ground. It suggests that your choice is negotiable, your values flexible, and your position open for debate. The more you explain, the more others feel entitled to question you. Silence interrupts this cycle. It removes the invitation to negotiate your worth. As Marcus Aurelius warned, much of life is wasted worrying about what others think, rather than acting in accordance with what is right. When you explain excessively, you are spending emotional energy managing perceptions instead of honoring principles. Silence returns that energy to where it belongs. Think about moments when someone calmly states a decision and stops talking. No story, no defense, no emotional charge. The atmosphere shifts immediately. Even disagreement loses its force because there is nothing to push against. That stillness communicates confidence more clearly than words ever could. This is especially difficult when emotions are involved. When you leave a relationship, set a boundary, or choose a different path, the urge to explain feels overwhelming. You want to be seen as reasonable. You want closure. But Stoicism teaches a hard lesson here. Closure is not something others grant you. It is something you give yourself. Silence protects your value by refusing to bargain with insecurity. It says your decision stands, regardless of approval. It does not seek agreement. It does not demand understanding. It simply is. And that clarity forces others to meet you on different terms. There is a simple discipline to practice. The next time you state a boundary or make a decision, stop after one sentence. No elaboration. No justification. Allow the discomfort to rise and fall without rescuing it with words. This is not cruelty. It is self-respect in action. You may be misunderstood. That is inevitable. But being misunderstood is not the same as being diminished. In fact, many of the most respected individuals in history were misunderstood precisely because they refused to explain themselves in comfort. When you stop explaining, you stop negotiating your value. You reclaim emotional territory that was never meant to be surrendered, and in that reclaimed space, something quiet but powerful emerges. You no longer speak to convince. You speak only when it aligns with who you are. That is when words regain their weight. Silence becomes the frame that gives them meaning. And your presence, no longer diluted by justification, begins to carry a gravity that others feel immediately, even if they cannot explain why. Part 4. Silence exposes character faster than words. Silence has a way of making people uncomfortable, and that discomfort is revealing. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, and stop filling the space with words, something interesting happens. People show you who they are without meaning to. Their behavior becomes the message. Most interactions are built on predictable patterns. You speak, they respond. You justify, they push back. You explain, they evaluate. Silence breaks this rhythm. It removes the script, and when the script disappears, the character steps forward. When you choose silence in moments of tension, you are no longer participating in emotional theater. You're observing. Some people respond with respect. They slow down. They become more thoughtful. They choose their words carefully. Others react with irritation, pressure, or manipulation. They demand explanations. They provoke reactions. They grow louder when you grow still. This contrast is not accidental. Silence strips away social masks. It reveals who is comfortable with boundaries and who depends on control. It shows who respects your autonomy and who only values your compliance. Words can lie, reactions rarely do. This is one of the most difficult Stoic lessons to accept. We want to believe what people say. We want to trust promises, apologies, and emotional declarations. But Stoic wisdom teaches you to watch patterns, not speeches. Character is revealed in how someone behaves when they do not get the reaction they expect. Think about how people respond when you stop over-explaining. Some will meet you with calm curiosity. Others will accuse you of being cold, distant, or unfair. That accusation is information. It tells you they were more attached to your emotional availability than to mutual respect. Silence becomes a mirror. It reflects back intentions that words try to hide. Manipulative people feel exposed by silence because it removes their leverage. Respectful people feel safe with silence because they do not need to dominate the space to feel secure. This is why Stoics valued observation over reaction. When you react quickly, you blur the truth. When you stay still, clarity emerges. You begin to see which relationships are rooted in respect and which are fueled by dependence or power imbalance. There is a practical way to apply this. When faced with pressure, delay your response. Do not argue, do not defend. Simply observe what follows. Notice who escalates. Notice who withdraws. Notice who adjusts with maturity. These responses tell you everything words cannot. This practice requires courage. Silence invites misunderstanding. It may cost you comfort in the short term, but it protects you from long-term confusion. It prevents you from investing energy in dynamics that drain you quietly over time. As you grow more comfortable with silence, your tolerance for manipulation decreases. You stop chasing explanations. You stop fixing emotional imbalance for others. You let behavior speak for itself. And when behavior speaks, you listen. That is when silence becomes one of the sharpest tools of discernment you possess. It does not judge. It does not accuse. It simply reveals. And once something is revealed, you are free to choose with clarity, dignity, and self-respect who is allowed continued access to your time, your energy, and your inner world. Silence, practiced consistently, becomes a quiet test that separates respect from entitlement, maturity from insecurity, and genuine connection from emotional dependence, allowing you to build relationships grounded in steadiness rather than constant reassurance alone. Part 5. Distance creates natural respect. Respect cannot be demanded, negotiated, or explained into existence. It emerges quietly when you demonstrate that your time, energy, and presence are not endlessly available. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, because it forces you to confront a fear most people carry silently, the fear that without constant presence, you might be forgotten. Many people stay overextended not because they want to, but because they fear losing relevance. They reply instantly. They show up even when drained. They tolerate subtle disrespect just to remain included. Over time, this self-abandonment erodes dignity. The Stoics understood that self-respect must come before social approval, or neither will last. Distance, when chosen consciously, is not rejection. It is alignment. It is the act of stepping back to protect what matters most, your inner order. When you stop being constantly accessible, you signal something powerful. You signal that your life is governed by intention, not obligation. This distance does something important. It resets expectations. People adjust their behavior when access is no longer guaranteed. They speak more carefully. They approach with greater awareness, not because you demanded respect, but because you demonstrated boundaries without hostility. Think about the people you respect most. They are not always available. They do not explain every absence. They do not rush to fill the silence. Their presence feels deliberate. That deliberateness creates gravity. It makes interactions feel meaningful rather than habitual. Distance also clarifies relationships. When you step back, some people drift away effortlessly. Others step forward with clarity and respect. This distinction is painful, but necessary. Stoicism teaches that not all connections are meant to be maintained at the same distance. Closeness without respect is not a connection. It is erosion. Natural respect grows when people sense that access to you is earned, not assumed. This does not require coldness or arrogance. It requires consistency. When you honor your limits, others learn where they stand, and paradoxically, many begin to value you more. There is a quiet confidence in choosing space. It tells the world you are not afraid of solitude. You do not need constant validation to feel whole. This self-sufficiency is deeply attractive, even if people cannot articulate why. To practice this, audit your relationships honestly. Notice which interactions leave you grounded and which leave you depleted. Begin reducing exposure to those that drain you. Respond more slowly. Engage more selectively. Say less without disappearing completely. This will feel uncomfortable at first. Guilt may surface. Old habits will resist change, but stay steady. Distance is not punishment, it is protection. Over time, something shifts. People who respect you adapt. People who depended on unlimited access reveal themselves, and you regain a sense of calm authority that cannot be forced through words. Respect that grows from distance is stable. It is not fragile or dependent on mood. It rests on a simple truth. You value yourself enough to choose where your energy flows, and when you do that consistently, the world adjusts around you. Not because you asked it to, but because strength that does not chase is felt. Distance becomes the quiet architecture of dignity, holding your life in balance while allowing respect to form naturally without argument, explanation, or strain, rooted in self-command rather than social negotiation, and sustained through calm, deliberate presence that speaks clearly, even in silence. Part 6. When silence is power and when it is not. Silence is a powerful discipline, but Stoicism was never about disappearing from life. True Stoic strength lies not in muteness, but in precision. Knowing when to remain silent is just as important as knowing when to speak. Without this distinction, silence becomes avoidance, not authority. There are moments when silence preserves dignity, and there are moments when silence becomes a quiet betrayal of your values. The Stoics were clear about this. You do not argue to prove your ego, but you also do not remain silent when virtue is compromised. Silence is a tool, not a refuge. It must be guided by principle, not fear. Many people misuse silence because they confuse restraint with suppression. They stay quiet, not because they are grounded, but because they are afraid of conflict, rejection, or loss. This kind of silence erodes self-respect. It creates inner tension. Over time, it turns calm into resentment. Stoic silence feels different. It is steady, not tight. It does not come from anxiety. It comes from clarity. You are silent because nothing needs to be said, or because one sentence will be enough. There are moments when speaking once, clearly and calmly, is the most stoic act available. When a core boundary is crossed, when your integrity is challenged, when remaining silent would signal acceptance of something you do not stand for. In these moments, silence is not strength. Precision is. The difference is simple but profound. Reactive speech seeks to control others. Stoic speech states truth and then releases attachment to the outcome. You do not argue, you do not persuade, you do not linger, you speak and you stop. One sentence, delivered without emotion, followed by silence. That silence afterward is where power lives. This is why Stoic silence is never passive. It is active restraint. It is the discipline of not feeding chaos with unnecessary words, while still honoring your values when they matter most. Ask yourself one question before you speak or remain silent. Is this about protecting my ego or protecting my character? The answer will always guide you correctly. When silence protects your peace, choose silence. When speech protects your virtue, speak once and let silence follow. This balance is what separates Stoic mastery from emotional shutdown. You are not disappearing. You're standing exactly where you should, unmoved by pressure, untouched by provocation. People sense this difference instinctively. They feel when silence comes from fear, and they feel when it comes from strength. One invites a challenge, the other commands respect. Over time, your presence becomes unmistakable. You're not loud, you're not reactive, you're not easily pulled into drama. But when you speak, people listen, because your words are rare, deliberate, and anchored in principle. That is the final discipline of silence. Not saying nothing, but saying only what matters, and having the courage to let the rest fall away. Today, we explored a truth that often feels uncomfortable but deeply freeing. Silence, when chosen with intention, is not weakness. It is strength under control. You learned how silence removes you from constant judgment, how absence restores value, how over-explaining quietly lowers your worth, how silence exposes character, how distance creates natural respect, and finally, when silence is power, and when it must be paired with precise speech. None of these ideas are about disappearing or becoming cold. They're about reclaiming authority over your time, your energy, and your inner world. Stoic silence is not passive, it is disciplined. It is the space where self-respect grows and where others are forced to adjust without you demanding anything. But understanding is not enough. This week, practice. Pause before reacting. Say less when you feel the urge to explain. Create space where you once chased reassurance. Observe how people respond, not with judgment, but with clarity. Let silence teach you what words never could. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect and apply it in your daily life. Real change happens in small, consistent choices. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your attention matters, and so does your growth. If you found value here, stay connected. More Stoic insights are coming soon. Until next time, stay grounded, stay disciplined, and let your silence speak for you.